Greetings, welcome to my channel. This is Personal Gov. I'm JP Watkins, and this is where you get food for your mind and motivation for your soul. And today we're going to tackle a topic that I just think we can't tackle it enough. Self-doubt. This is something that both the old, the young, the tall, the skinny, the petite, the heavy, this is something that so many people struggle with. Self-doubt. So we're going to talk about some ways that you can suffocate self-doubt. Yeah, that's right. That's it. Suffocate it, kill it, drown it out. Right? So I'm going to take you back to when I'm dating myself here, because now with social media, people used to just, you just ask people, do they got a Facebook, a Twitter account? You follow them, people follow you back. Well, I'm going to take you back to a time pre-social media when, you was at the bus stop and you see an attractive young lady and go, you come up to her, hey, what's your name? And this and that. You got a boyfriend? And she might be like, no. You're like, oh, what's your number? Write your number down for me. Then, you see her the next day, you done tried to call her. You realize she gave you the wrong number. What does that do for your ego? And she's looking at you, she's looking away from you. She don't want to look at you because she knows I think they call it curve you. She done curved you. You know what I'm saying? So, and back then, it was different terminology. But at the end of the day, she wasn't interested in your advances. So, if you are somebody that's struggling with self-doubt, I want you to ask yourself why. And a lot of times when you really think about it, it's kind of natural. Why? Because when we go through school, when we go through life, as we learn, what do? We imitate people, right? We imitate our parents. We imitate our siblings, our older brother, our older sister. So it's what we do. And like when we do something and we do something well, we get that approval. One of the best examples I can use is, hey, potty training, right? He or she start going to the bathroom and it's like, oh, you did a good job. You reward them. So they start to learn that, hey, if I do things that people approve of, I get recognition. I get rewards, right? And now that's just a toddler. The challenge is, as you grow into a grown, independent adult, you have to learn how to still respect. You always want to respect your parents and the opinions of your closest friends and family, right? But you are still an individual, and you still got to honor that inner sense of peace that you want. And sometimes your conscience will react violently because you're doing things that don't really fulfill your soul. They don't speak to your spirit, right? So, but a lot of times, what do you do? Well, you're doing these things to please. I'm doing this. I'm going to college even though I don't want to, because I want to please my mom. Or I'm going to the army, because I want to please my dad. My dad was a military man. Whatever it is, you start finding yourself doing activities and vocations, whatever. Even dating certain people. Oh, she's such a nice girl. Yeah, but you don't really love her. You don't really care about her. So now you're doing all the right things for the wrong reasons. And a lot of times that's pitted and grounded in self-doubt. Because you doubt yourself. You say, man, I want to be an entrepreneur. I want to be this public speaker. I want to be, a content creator. I want to be a singer. I want to be, a rapper or a poet like Maya Angelou, or, maybe you come from the other end. Maybe your dad was a nephrologist, and maybe your mom was an anesthesiologist, and they expect you to go to medical school, and you don't want no part of it. You don't want no part of it. You're like, I like working with my hands. I want to be a diesel mechanic. I want to pull big things apart and pull them back together. Or I want to, do these I want to work on the monster trucks. I want to make those high, powerful trucks that, that blow asphalt off the ground. Your parents wouldn't understand that because they come in a different era and they were rooted by different conventions and different traditions, right? So let's get back down to the basics. Self-confidence. So how can you find the strength to be more self-confident? Well, I'm going to use an example that most people can relate because they've either been on one side or the other of the coin. Just think of dating. Think somebody you're interested in. Like, go back to that young lady, and there was many of them. I'd have been rejected many a times. But how? How did I adopt? What was my sense of rejection therapy that I used? Well, at the time, before I even ran into that term, what I did was I devised, because I would see these girls. It was a particular young lady. Her name was Paniti Singatat from grade school. For whatever reason, I was in grade school. I didn't even know these organs of love, whatever, but I was just fascinated. She was from Thailand. She looked different. She talked different. She had this exotic look. And I was just totally fascinated with her. And I would get around Paniti and just go blank. And that's just probably one of the first, because I was literally in first grade. But it's many, many examples where it would happen where I would see these particularly attractive women that I wanted to get to know better, and I would just freeze. And if I did get to muster up the courage, it would kind of come off, and they could kind of read like, oh, this guy all nervous, and I ain't really interested in that, because confidence is one of the most attractive things. You talk to a lot of people, whether it's going for a job, hey, he was real confident, he was real comfortable, real competent. And same thing, a lot of, the one thing is a turn off. People don't, men and women, at least from a lot of people that I've interviewed and talked to, they don't like insecure people. Insecure people want to put you in a box because they insecure. So the self-doubt and the self-confidence, this is something that you can acquire. You can acquire self-confidence, and you can suffocate your self-doubt. So I'm going to give you an example. Now, this is just my example. This is not the example. So what I would do to get used to learning how to talk to different women that I was attracted to, what I started doing is I actually would start speaking to women that I didn't find particularly attractive. And the thing that I found that was interesting is sometimes the ones that were very unattractive, they had a personality that matched it. It's like, man, you don't look good and your personality is trash to go along with it. But what I found out is also sometimes you find those really attractive ones, same thing, terrible personality, right? Because they got so used, they expect you to hold the door open, stuff like that. So I started learning. But what I started doing is I started talking to a lot of young ladies, just getting to know them, ask them, hey, what's your name? Blah, blah, blah. Where you from? This, and making this conversation. And hey, I'd like to get to know you better. Just write your number down. And what happened was, eventually someone wasn't interested. Oh, thanks, but no thanks. I'm dating somebody. I'm in a relationship. It got easier to hear no, to just either, some of them just look at you like, I don't know you and I don't want to know you. Then someone would, like I said, someone would be polite. Thanks, but no thanks. Then someone would be nasty. Like, man, I don't know you. Get away from me. Ugh. But guess what? At the end of the day, I'm still standing. I'm still here. I still survived. So now, by taking those candidates that I didn't find particularly attractive or particularly appealing, that gave me the skill set. So now, when I find somebody that I'm actually interested in, or if I'm going to a position, a job, you don't have to just do it with somebody that you're romantically interested in. Hey, same thing. So maybe, you're looking for a job and you really want a certain type of job or a certain type of career. Hey, start applying for some of the stuff that you really don't care about. And I know people think that's crazy, but guess what that's going to do? Basically, you're going through the real interview process. You're going to learn some of the stuff that they're going to ask you. And this is unconventional, but this is actually practical information. And now that you learn the skill, you get more confident. You get used to being told no. You find out that, guess what? After I get rejected, I'm still here. I'm still alive. Yeah, it never feels good. But that's another thing. One of the things that's going to help you suffocate self-doubt is get used to not feeling good all the time. It's just like if you want to have an extraordinary physique, right? You want to have these bulging biceps, or for the ladies, a lot of legs, they like to have them big, beautiful legs, like Serena Williams or different sprinters or whatever, right? Guess what? It's gonna hurt. You're gonna be in pain sometimes. Sometimes you're gonna sprain yourself when you're doing these high intensity training and so on and so forth. To get that desired result, you got to be willing to pay the price. So that means you're going to be uncomfortable sometimes. So a lot of times, one of the key ways of getting through and getting over that self-doubt is say, hey, you know what? It's not going to feel good all the time. Some people are going to say no. Some of your proposals, they're going to get rejected. They're going to get ignored. Whether it's, like I said, a romantic proposal or a business proposal. So, hey, just get used to it. Accept it. You'll never love it. But guess what? Once you can accept it, then just start. Take it. And one of the key steps here is start taking something that you're not so emotionally invested in. That the stakes aren't that high. So if you go talk to somebody, if you ask somebody out that you're not super duper attracted to, if they say no, guess what? Okay, I'm really attracted to you anyway. Hey, you go for a job, you do a proposal, you do something, it get rejected. Oh, okay. But what did you learn in the process? Well, you learned two things. A, you learned part of the mechanics. How could you respond it differently? You know what? They said this. That was some good feedback. So you learn the mechanics. You learn those technical communication skills and things that you could do differently. But B, you learned that you survived. So what? They said no. So what? They rejected you. So I'm going to wrap this up for the day, and thank you for tuning in with Personal Governance, where we, like I said, this is food for your mind and motivation for your soul. So I hope that this was useful for you. Leave the comments, please subscribe, please share, and that's my time for the day. Persist, believe, and achieve.